Hello, and welcome to another peaceful journey into the past. Tonight, we shall open the doors to a world of medieval medicine and royal courts, where healing was an art of patience and dedication. Perhaps you are settling beneath warm covers, or letting the gentle hours of evening carry you toward rest. Either way, we are honored to share this time with you. Picture this scene unfolding before you like pages from an ancient manuscript. You stand in the shadow of Whitmore Palace, your hands steady as a royal messenger approaches your door at dawn. The year is 1538, and you have been summoned to serve as personal physician to one of the most complex rulers in the realm, King Edward IV. Your heart beats with anticipation, for you understand the weighty responsibility that awaits you. You clutch your leather medical satchel, containing the finest surgical instruments of your time. Bottles of carefully prepared medicines, and containers of leeches for bloodletting. These represent the most advanced remedies available to medical practitioners of your era. You know that treating a monarch requires not only medical skill, but also diplomatic wisdom. Preserving the crown brings both tremendous honor and significant challenges. Welcome to your new position as King Edward's physician, where every diagnosis requires careful consideration, every treatment demands precision, and where the delicate balance between healer and advisor becomes beautifully complex. You are about to discover why serving as a royal physician in medieval England was considered both the most prestigious medical position in the kingdom and one requiring extraordinary dedication and skill. Your first challenge begins before you even meet the king. As palace guards escort you through the magnificent corridors, past tapestries worth more than entire villages earn in a year, you catch your first sense of the responsibility that awaits you. The atmosphere is one of quiet reverence mixed with the subtle sense of herbs and medicines that permeate the royal chambers. The massive oak doors open slowly, and there before you stands King Edward IV, ruler of England, defender of the faith, and now your royal patient. At 47 years of age, Edward presents a complex medical case that will test every aspect of your training and experience. The king has grown considerably larger than in his youthful portraits, his body bearing the weight of years spent enjoying the finest foods and wines the kingdom can provide. His breathing appears somewhat labored, and there is a noticeable discomfort in his left leg, the result of an old jousting injury that is never quite healed properly. The wound on the king's leg tells a story of medieval warfare and tournament competition. What began as a proud battle scar has become a persistent ulcer that refuses to heal completely. The flesh around it appears inflamed and tender, constantly requiring fresh bandages and careful attention. The smell, while not pleasant, is manageable with proper care and the liberal use of aromatic herbs and oils. "Doctor," the king says, his voice carrying the natural authority of one born to rule, though tempered with the weariness of chronic discomfort. "My previous physician assured me this wound would heal completely within a month. That was 6 moons ago, and still it troubles me. I trust your skills will prove more effective than his efforts." Your mouth grows thoughtful as you realize the full scope of your new responsibility. You are looking at a leg wound that, by all medical understanding of your time, should have responded to traditional treatments months ago. The inflammation appears persistent, and you suspect the king's rich diet and sedentary lifestyle may be contributing factors to the slow healing process. Your training in the great medical schools of Europe has prepared you well for this moment. You have studied the works of the ancient physicians Galenus and Hippocrates, learned the intricate balance of the 4 humors that govern human health, and mastered the delicate arts of bloodletting, herbal medicine, and surgical intervention. According to the accepted medical wisdom of your era, illness results from an imbalance of the 4 bodily humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Your treatment approach will focus on restoring proper balance through careful bloodletting, the application of medicinal leeches, and the administration of specially prepared herbal remedies. The king's daily routine will now become intertwined with your medical schedule. Each morning, you must examine his wounds with the greatest care, document any changes in his condition, and adjust his treatment accordingly. Your medical bag contains the finest instruments available, polished knives for precise bloodletting, bottles of purified mercury for treating suspected ailments, and various herbs and mineral preparations whose effects have been carefully studied over centuries of medical practice. Chapter 2. The Medieval Medical Arts. The morning mist clings gently to the castle walls as you make your way through the softly lit corridors toward the king's chambers. Your leather medical case rests securely at your side, filled with the instruments and remedies that represent the pinnacle of 16th century medical knowledge. Your fingers trace the smooth handle of your fleam, a carefully crafted blade designed for the precise practice of bloodletting. This instrument will become one of your most frequently used tools in treating King Edward. According to the established medical principles of your time, the king's persistent leg wound, his occasional outbursts of temper, and his general feelings of unwellness all stem from an excess of heated blood that requires careful drainage to restore proper balance. You pause outside the royal chambers, preparing yourself mentally for the day's medical duties. Through the heavy wooden door, you can hear the king's somewhat labored breathing and occasional sounds of discomfort. His substantial frame, now weighing considerably more than in his athletic youth, places strain on his cardiovascular system, while the infected area on his leg continues to require daily attention and care. The scents that greet you upon entering are a mixture of medicinal herbs, burning incense designed to purify the air, and the natural odors associated with chronic wounds. Your immediate response is to increase the frequency of herbal fumigations, and perhaps introduce additional aromatic preparations to maintain a more pleasant environment for healing. King Edward regards you from his ornate bed, his eyes reflecting both hope for relief and the frustration of months spent dealing with persistent discomfort. "Well, Master Physician," he says with a mixture of authority and weary patience, "what remedies do you bring me this day? My previous doctor spoke confidently of quick cures, yet here I remain, troubled by the same ailments that have plagued me for months." You begin arranging your medical instruments on a small table beside the king's bed, each tool carefully cleaned and maintained according to the highest standards of your profession. First come the cupping vessels, skillfully crafted from brass and glass, which you will heat carefully before applying them to the king's skin to draw blood toward the surface and facilitate the rebalancing of his humors. Next, you display your collection of carefully preserved herbs and mineral preparations. Mercury, prepared according to ancient formulas for treating various internal ailments. Opium dissolved in wine to provide relief from pain, though you must monitor its use carefully to avoid clouding the king's judgment. Various plant extracts whose properties have been documented by generations of physicians, each chosen for its specific therapeutic benefits. Your surgical instruments gleam in the candlelight, each one crafted by the finest metalworkers in the kingdom. A bone saw, should surgical intervention become necessary for any severely damaged tissue. Cauterizing irons that can be heated to seal wounds and prevent the spread of corruption. Delicate forceps for removing debris from wounds, and a collection of knives sharp enough for precise surgical work while remaining comfortable for the patient. Perhaps the most fascinating tool in your medical arsenal comes not from metalwork but from nature itself. In a specially designed wooden container, you maintain a collection of medicinal leeches, their dark bodies moving gently in the damp moss that keeps them healthy and ready for use. These remarkable creatures will attach themselves to the king's skin, drawing out excess blood while you monitor their progress carefully ensuring that this natural form of bloodletting achieves the desired therapeutic effect. Chapter 3. Daily medical practice. Your most significant challenge lies not in any single dramatic moment, but in the patient, careful work of treating a complex medical case over many months. King Edward's condition requires your attention to remain consistently focused, your treatments to be precisely measured, and your observations to be meticulously recorded. The ulcer on the king's leg has grown to approximately the size of a silver coin. Weeping fluid that requires fresh bandages to be applied twice daily. Your approach involves cleaning the wound with wine mixed with healing herbs, applying poultices made from honey and ground herbs, and ensuring that the area remains properly covered to prevent further irritation. Your understanding of anatomy, based on the careful study of ancient texts and approved medical manuscripts, guides every aspect of your treatment. You know that King Edward's ailments stem from an imbalance in his bodily humors, particularly an excess of blood and yellow bile that manifests as inflammation, discomfort, and slow healing. The bloodletting sessions have become a carefully orchestrated medical ritual. Using your perfectly maintained phlegm, you make precise incisions in the king's arm, allowing the dark, thick blood to flow into silver bowls. The color and consistency of the blood provide important diagnostic information about the state of his internal humors. Sometimes you observe clots forming quickly, which suggests that the blood itself contains excessive heat and requires more frequent draining. The application of leeches has evolved into an almost meditative practice. You select the healthiest specimens from your collection, placing them carefully around the edges of King Edward's leg wound and occasionally on his temples to address his frequent headaches. The creatures attach themselves with their tiny teeth, gradually swelling as they consume the excess blood that is contributing to his ailments. When they have finished their work and naturally detach, you clean the small puncture wounds they leave behind and apply soothing herbal preparations. Mercury treatments represent one of the most sophisticated aspects of your medical practice. The liquid metal, believed to have powerful purifying properties, is carefully measured and mixed with wine or honey to make it more palatable for the king. While the taste remains distinctly metallic and somewhat unpleasant, King Edward tolerates these treatments well, understanding their importance in cleansing his system of internal corruption. Your surgical procedures, when necessary, follow the most advanced techniques known to medical science. When treating particularly stubborn areas of infection around the king's wound, you use heated cauterizing irons to burn away damaged tissue. This process, while uncomfortable for the patient, effectively removes corrupted flesh and stimulates the growth of healthy new tissue. The smell of burning flesh fills the chamber temporarily, but the therapeutic benefits justify this brief unpleasantness. Chapter 4. The Science of Medieval Medicine. Your diagnostic methods reflect centuries of accumulated medical wisdom passed down from the great physicians of antiquity. Each morning begins with a careful examination of King Edward's urine, checking its color, clarity, and scent for signs of internal imbalance. Dark or cloudy urine suggests an excess of heated humors, while pale, thin urine might indicate insufficient vital force in the body. The king's pulse provides another important diagnostic tool. You place your fingers carefully on his wrist, noting the strength, speed, and rhythm of his heartbeat. A rapid pulse often indicates excess heat in the body, while a slow or weak pulse suggests a need for treatments that will strengthen his vital spirits. Sometimes you detect irregularities in the rhythm that require special attention and modified treatment approaches. Your approach to the king's diet represents a sophisticated understanding of how different foods affect the balance of bodily humors. Meats, particularly red meats, are considered heating foods that may exacerbate King Edward's inflammatory condition. You recommend increased consumption of cooling foods such as fish, certain vegetables, and diluted wines. However, the king's preferences for rich foods require careful negotiation and gradual dietary changes rather than dramatic restrictions. The herbal preparations you create follow formulas that have been refined over generations of medical practice. Comfrey and plantain for promoting wound healing, willow bark for reducing inflammation, and various combinations of roots and leaves designed to cool excessive heat in the body. Each remedy is prepared with careful attention to proper proportions and timing, often requiring several days of preparation to achieve the desired potency. Your understanding of the relationship between celestial movements and human health adds another dimension to your medical practice. The positions of planets and stars influence the effectiveness of different treatments, and you consult carefully maintained astronomical charts to determine the most auspicious times for bloodletting, surgery, and the administration of various medicines. Mercury is most effective when the planet Mercury is in favorable alignment, while treatments involving iron work best when Mars is properly positioned. Chapter 5. The challenges of royal medicine. The political aspects of serving as a royal physician add layers of complexity that ordinary medical practitioners never encounter. Your patient's health affects not only his personal well-being, but also the stability of the entire kingdom. Foreign ambassadors watch carefully for any signs of weakness in the king's condition, while domestic nobles monitor his health for opportunities to advance their own positions at court. Your medical reports must be crafted with diplomatic skill as well as medical accuracy. You cannot simply announce that the king's condition is serious or that his recovery may take longer than hoped. Instead, you must provide honest assessments while maintaining optimism and avoiding any statements that might be interpreted as predictions of doom or failure. The Queen, Lady Margaret, adds another dimension to your responsibilities. She requires regular updates on her husband's condition, but these conversations must be managed carefully to avoid causing unnecessary worry while still providing the information she needs to make important decisions about court activities and royal obligations. The king's own psychology presents unique challenges for medical treatment. Accustomed to commanding armies and governing a kingdom, King Edward sometimes struggles with the patience required for proper healing. He occasionally demands more aggressive treatments or faster results than medical science can safely provide. Your role requires not only medical expertise, but also the diplomatic skills necessary to guide a powerful and intelligent patient toward the best therapeutic choices. The financial resources available for the king's medical care are virtually unlimited, which creates both opportunities and challenges. You can obtain the rarest herbs from distant lands, commission the finest surgical instruments, and consult with the most learned physicians in Europe. However, the expectation that unlimited resources should produce miraculous results creates pressure to constantly seek new and more exotic treatments. Chapter 6. Advanced treatments and procedures. As King Edward's condition proves more stubborn than initially hoped, you begin incorporating more advanced treatments into his medical regimen. Trepanation, the careful drilling of small holes in the skull to release pressure and allow corrupted humors to escape, becomes necessary to address his increasingly frequent headaches. This procedure requires the utmost precision and care. Using specially designed drilling instruments, you create small openings in the king's skull while he remains conscious and alert. The process is uncomfortable, but not unbearably painful, and the relief it provides from his headaches justifies the temporary discomfort. The small wounds heal quickly and leave barely visible scars. Your experiments with different combinations of herbal medicines lead to the development of new therapeutic approaches specifically tailored to King Edward's unique medical needs. You create poultices combining exotic ingredients imported from distant lands, powdered pearls for their cooling properties, ground unicorn horn for its legendary healing powers, and various rare minerals that are believed to have special affinities for royal blood. The king's sleeping difficulties require special attention and innovative solutions. You prepare sleeping draughts from carefully measured combinations of opium, valerian root, and mandragora. These medicines provide relief from pain and promote restful sleep, though you must monitor their use carefully to avoid creating dependency or interfering with the king's daytime alertness and decision-making abilities. Chapter 7. The Healing Arts in Practice. Your treatment of King Edward's leg wound evolves into a sophisticated daily ritual that combines multiple therapeutic approaches. Each morning begins with the careful removal of old bandages, followed by gentle cleansing with wine mixed with healing herbs. You examine the wound closely for signs of improvement or complications, documenting any changes in your detailed medical records. The application of fresh medicinal preparations follows established procedures refined through months of careful observation. Honey mixed with powdered herbs creates a healing environment that promotes the growth of healthy tissue while fighting infection. Silver powder, known for its purifying properties, is sprinkled lightly over the wound before fresh bandages are applied. Your bloodletting sessions become increasingly sophisticated as you learn to read the subtle signs that indicate the optimal timing and quantity for each treatment. The king's blood sometimes appears darker and thicker, suggesting the need for more frequent drainage. Other times it flows more freely and appears brighter in color, indicating that his humoral balance is improving. The leeching treatments evolve into a precise therapeutic art form. You learn to select different types of leeches for different purposes. Smaller ones for delicate work around sensitive areas, larger specimens for more substantial blood removal. The timing of these treatments becomes increasingly important, with sessions scheduled to coincide with favorable planetary alignments and the king's natural rhythms. Chapter 8. Progress and Patience. Over the months of your service, King Edward's condition shows gradual but steady improvement. The persistent inflammation in his leg begins to subside as your careful treatments restore balance to his bodily humors. The daily bloodletting sessions successfully reduce the excess heat in his system, while the mercury treatments cleanse his blood of internal corruption. The king's mood and energy levels improve noticeably as his physical discomfort decreases. He becomes more engaged in matters of state, more patient with courtiers and advisors, and more optimistic about his overall health prospects. These psychological improvements, in turn, support his physical healing by reducing the stress and tension that can interfere with the body's natural recovery. Processes. Your detailed medical records document not only the treatments administered, but also the king's responses to each intervention. This careful documentation allows you to refine your approach continuously, identifying which combinations of treatments work most effectively and which timing produces the best results. The relationship between physician and patient develops into one of mutual respect and understanding. King Edward comes to appreciate the careful, methodical approach required for true healing. While you learn to work within the constraints and expectations of treating a royal patient. Chapter 9. The Art of Royal Healing. Your position as King Edward's physician has taught you that healing is as much an art as a science. The combination of medical knowledge, diplomatic skill, and personal dedication required to serve a royal patient successfully represents the highest achievement possible in your profession. The treatments that have proven most effective are those that work gently and gradually, rather than attempting dramatic quick fixes. The daily bloodletting sessions, carefully measured and timed, slowly restore balance without shocking the king's system. The herbal medicines, administered consistently over time, Build up therapeutic benefits that support long-term healing. Your success in treating King Edward establishes your reputation as one of the finest physicians in the kingdom. Other nobles begin requesting your services for their own medical needs, though you remain primarily dedicated to the king's ongoing care. Your methods and approaches begin to influence other physicians, contributing to advances in medical practice throughout the realm. The financial rewards of your position allow you to invest in better equipment, rarer medicines, and continued education. You correspond with physicians in other countries, sharing knowledge and learning about new treatment approaches that might benefit your royal patient. Chapter 10. Wisdom and experience as your service to King Edward continues through the seasons. You develop an increasingly sophisticated understanding of the complex relationships between diet, exercise, emotional state, and physical health. The king's condition teaches you that effective medicine must address all aspects of human well-being, not merely the specific symptoms that brought the patient to your attention. Your approach to the king's diet becomes more nuanced as you observe how different foods affect his energy levels, mood, and healing progress. Rather than imposing strict restrictions, you work with the royal kitchen staff to gradually modify his meals in directions that support his health while still providing the satisfaction and enjoyment appropriate to his station. The exercise regimens you develop for King Edward must balance his need for physical activity with the limitations imposed by his leg wound. Gentle walks in the palace gardens, carefully supervised swimming in the royal baths, and modified forms of the physical activities he enjoyed in his youth all contribute to his overall fitness while avoiding strain on his healing tissues. Your understanding of the emotional and psychological aspects of healing deepens as you observe how the king's mental state affects his physical recovery. Times of political stress or personal disappointment often coincide with setbacks in his healing, while periods of satisfaction and optimism seem to accelerate his progress. Chapter 11. The royal recovery after many months of patient, careful treatment. King Edward's leg wound finally begins to show dramatic improvement. The persistent ulcer that had troubled him for so long starts to close properly, healthy pink tissue replacing the inflamed areas that had resisted previous healing attempts. The success of your treatment approach validates the careful, methodical philosophy you have followed throughout his care. Rather than seeking dramatic quick cures, you have focused on supporting the body's natural healing processes through balanced nutrition, appropriate bloodletting, carefully selected herbal medicines, and the maintenance of optimal conditions for recovery. King Edward's energy levels return to those of his younger years, though tempered by the wisdom and patience that comes with maturity. He resumes many of the physical activities he had been forced to abandon, though with appropriate modifications to prevent re-injury of his previously wounded leg. The improvement in the king's condition has positive effects throughout the kingdom. His renewed vigor allows him to engage more actively in governing. His improved mood makes court life more pleasant for everyone around him, and his obvious health reassures both domestic nobles and foreign ambassadors about the stability of the realm. Chapter 12. Reflections on medieval medicine. Your experience as King Edward's physician has provided unique insights into the practice of medicine in the 16th century. The treatments that proved most effective were those based on careful observation, patient application, and respect for the body's natural healing processes rather than dramatic interventions or exotic remedies. The importance of the physician-patient relationship becomes clear through your work with the king. Trust, communication, and mutual understanding prove to be therapeutic factors as important as any medicine or surgical procedure. The king's willingness to follow your recommendations and your ability to explain treatments in ways he could understand both contributed significantly to his recovery. Your success in treating King Edward demonstrates that even with the limited medical knowledge available in your era, careful practice and dedicated attention can achieve remarkable results. The key lies not in possessing miraculous cures, but in applying established principles with skill, patience, and wisdom. The political and social aspects of serving as a royal physician have taught you that medicine cannot be separated from the broader context of human life. A patient's recovery depends not only on medical treatment, but also on their environment, relationships, responsibilities, and emotional well-being. Epilogue. The healer's legacy. Your service as King Edward's personal physician establishes you as one of the most respected medical practitioners of your time. The careful records you have maintained throughout his treatment become valuable teaching materials for future physicians, documenting not only which treatments were effective, but also the reasoning behind each therapeutic decision. The relationship you have built with King Edward continues long after his dramatic recovery. He frequently consults with you about health matters affecting other members of the royal family and occasionally seeks your advice on medical policies that might benefit the kingdom as a whole. Your approach to medical practice, emphasizing careful observation, patient treatment, and respect for natural healing processes, influences a generation of physicians. Students come from throughout Europe to learn your methods, carrying your techniques back to their own countries and patients. The challenges you faced and overcame in treating King Edward provide lessons that extend far beyond medicine. The importance of persistence in the face of difficult problems, the value of careful observation and documentation, and the need to balance confidence with humility all prove to be principles that serve you well throughout your career. As you reflect on your years of service to the crown, you realize that the practice of medicine in the royal court has taught you as much about human nature, political wisdom, and personal strength as it has about the healing arts. The combination of medical knowledge and practical wisdom required to succeed in such a demanding position has made you not only a better physician, but also a more complete human being. Your legacy as King Edward's physician will be remembered, not only for the successful treatment of a challenging medical case, but also for the demonstration that careful, patient, methodical medicine can achieve remarkable results even within the limitations of 16th century medical knowledge. The King's recovery stands as a testament to the power of dedicated healing and the importance of the physician's commitment to the welfare of their patients. In the quiet moments of your later years, as you continue to practice medicine and teach younger physicians, you often reflect on those months of treating King Edward. The experience taught you that true healing requires not only medical knowledge, but also patience, wisdom, courage, and an unwavering commitment to the well-being of those who place their trust in your hands. The practice of medicine in the service of a king proved to be the greatest challenge and the greatest honor of your professional life, providing lessons in healing that will guide and inspire your work for many years to come. Thus concludes our gentle journey into the life of a royal physician in medieval England. May these tales of dedication and healing provide peaceful thoughts as you rest, and may your dreams be filled with the quiet satisfaction that comes from work well done and service faithfully rendered.